these notes, we are going to do a little bit more than two-step equations. They are going to be called multi-step equations. So multi-step is 3 or more steps to get the x by itself or the variable by itself. So the learning target's the same as what we did before. I can solve equations in one variable. So the first one that I want to go over is 5x plus 4 all divided by 2 equals 12. Now I recommend still drawing your line. Now notice that the numerator is all divided by 2. We have to get rid of that division by 2. I know I've been saying that you have to undo order of operations and we have to undo adding or subtracting first. But this adding 4 is kind of trapped. It's in the numerator. We can't get to it. So what you want to do is put the numerator in parentheses. That's going to be like the shield. I used to call it the Captain America shield. Nothing can get to it. But we need to undo this dividing by 2 by multiplying by 2. And whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. Now that shield, those parentheses, blocks the 2 because then you're doing 2 divided by 2, which gets you that 1. And then we are left with 5x plus 4 equals 24. And now it's just a regular two-step. The division is gone. We multiplied it out. So then we just minus 4 on both sides. We're left with 5x equals 20. And then we divide by 5 on both sides. And then we get x equals 4. 5 divided by 5 was at 1. So you could write a 1x or you could just write x. Now for your turn, we're going to do the same thing as we did the other day. And I'm going to ask you to pause so you can show your work. So it is 4x plus 3 all divided by 5 equals 3. So you can pause this video, try your turn, and then when you're done, you can resume and go on to example 2. So example 2 has this fraction again. X divided by 5 plus 2 equals negative 13. Now there's 2 ways of doing this. So I'm going to do method 1. And I'm also going to do method 2 because I actually saw method 2 the other day. So this isn't really a new problem, but I've seen it. There's some mistakes, so I wanted to go over it. So method 1 is to treat this problem kind of normally. I see adding 2, so I'm going to subtract by 2. And then it's x divided by 5 equals negative 15. And then we're left with a fraction. Remember that division, that fraction bar, it just means that we're dividing. So to undo dividing, we multiply by 5 and we multiply by 5. That goes away. And then we are left with negative 75. All right, method 2. I've seen a few students want to do method 2 because they do not like any fraction, and that's okay. So in the denominator, we see a divide by 5. We see a 5. So you could multiply every single item by 5. Now, students that choose method 2, you got to make sure that you multiply every single thing by 5. So then this becomes that x that we wanted Don't forget this 2, this lonely 2. 5 times 2 gets you that positive 10. And then all the way across, even the equal sign, 5 times negative 13 is negative 65. And now it just becomes a 1 step. So we minus 10 on both sides. And we're left with x equals negative 75. So notice either in method 1 and method 2, you get the same answer. It does not matter which route you go. Method 2, personally, I see the most mistakes, but if you want to do method 2, cool. Get rid of the fraction as soon as you can. Now for your turn 2, you get to decide which method you want. So you do not need to do both. I guess these directions should say solve. I apologize. So we're going to solve x divided by 7 minus 4 equals 20. So this is where you should pause your video, try your turn, and then hit play as soon as you're done. Example 3, we talked about in our previous day's lesson, and I'm just bringing distribution into the problem. So distribution is just a fancy word for multiplying. So notice in example 2, I drew the arrows. That's really the work that I'm looking for. I recommend draw an arrow, then simplify. So negative 2 times x gets you negative 2x, because there's really a 1 there. So negative 2 times 1, that's how I got the negative 2. Drop down the x. Now this is the biggest mistake I see. Students see this minus sign and they want to drop it down. That's incorrect. Don't do it. You want to kind of like lasso this number. What is negative 2 times negative 5? Well, negative 2 times negative 5 is a positive 10. So whatever you get for that product, that sign, that's what goes down on the next line. So I see it time again. Make sure that you multiply, and if it's positive, it's really adding. If your product is a negative, then it's really minusing. And now it's just a friendly 2-step. Now don't forget to divide by a negative 2, because that is what's attached to the x. Now once you write down your turn, this is where you should pause. So you're going to solve negative 3 times a quantity, 2x minus 5 equals 9. So once you're done with your turn, then you can hit play again, and then we can go into example 4. Example 4 is combine like terms. Now this is slightly different than the problems that I gave you on yesterday's assignment. Our like terms are the negative 6 and the negative 4. So if you wrote negative 6 minus 4, if we just took away the x's, okay, same sign, so we add, so it's negative 10, but these are x's. So we got to drop down the x. So it's negative 10x. If it was adding 4, then it would be a different problem. You want to do what this sign tells you to do. So if it's a minus, you minus the 2 numbers. If it's adding, you add the 2 numbers. So since it was minusing, we got minus 10, then minus 7 equals 13. Another mistake that I always see, students forget to write this 10. These were x's, so make sure you drop down the 10 once you're done adding the integers. All right, add 7 to both sides. We get negative 10x equals 20. Now we have a friendly one step. Divide by negative 10 on both sides. And some of you, for this step, you're forgetting to actually write it. Make sure that you do, please. And then it's x equals negative 2. So lastly, for your turn, you're going to solve. We got 5x plus 4 plus 2x equals 18. So remember, you're combining like terms. So make sure you're combining the right items. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at any time. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.